There were three things we're trying to address as an organisation. First and foremost, it's to provide our employees with the opportunity to be able to report on conditions that they see in the workplace. Secondly, it's to change the behaviour and the way of thinking to make sure that they're willing to make the reports to try and help both themselves and the rest of the teams around them. And thirdly, and really importantly, it's not just enough to be able to make those reports. They've got to understand and be able to see that the organisation reacts seriously and takes action on the highlights. So first and foremost, training is very important. This isn't something that necessarily comes naturally to people who haven't done it before. And it's particularly important to give people training on the difference between reporting an unsafe condition, which is very simple. So for example, that chair is in the wrong place, as opposed to being comfortable with talking to another individual person about how their behaviour could be perceived as unsafe. There is always a bit of a threat in that conversation that people be challenging or not willing to receive the feedback. So that's quite a specific skill that we've needed to develop. Secondly, it's really important that the programme comes both top down and bottom up. It's very important that the leadership cast the right shadow, but it's also very important that the people on the ground feel that they're competent to deal with this, but also that they're going to be listened to and the feedback's going to be acted upon. The final thing is to make sure that this becomes not part of a safety program in isolation, but it's actually part of everything we do as part of the business. So it follows down all of the other different business metrics into the organisation, and it's an integral part of what we do in our operating system, not something that's done as well. Linking back to my earlier point, one of the biggest challenges was making it acceptable to give and receive feedback in a positive manner. Again, sometimes people viewed that as judgmental on the receiving end, or people viewed it as a difficult conversation to have if you were the one giving the feedback. So again, it's important that we train people how to do that, and our leadership training has very much brought in those tools and techniques, and equally at the ground level on the organisation as well. It's taken a bit of time, and you almost have to go through it a few times to show people that it is indeed okay to have those conversations. We've also used external trainers to help us where we found it difficult, because this isn't the first time in the industry this has happened, but it is the first time for SAESL. Success for us would be a behavioural based safety program that stops being a program and just becomes the way we operate. What we're trying to do here is to inculcate something that becomes the culture of the organisation. So when we stop thinking about this as a separate task and this becomes the day-to-day way of working, we know that behaviour-based safety is now the culture and not a program. That would be really, really powerful success. To support this, other activities that we've been doing are a program called Narrate and Demonstrate, which is a little bit like Trust and Verify from a leadership point of view, where we go and make sure that our leadership and management are really getting under the skin and testing whether what we think is happening is actually what's going on, and that's really important. And the last one, again, it links to the culture bit, but it's to make sure that quality and safety becomes operational, not functional. And it's part of what all of the teams, whether they're in the offices or whether they're in the manufacturing facilities, it's part of the way they do business every day.